Uh, so tonight we're going to talk about our artificial intelligence in terms of programming, as I have mentioned earlier. Let me share my screen. Okay. So we're going to do this handwritten number recognition. Assuming we are given numbers like this, 3 and so on, and we want to recognize this 3, 4, 1, 2, or whatever numbers given. Okay, so what we are going to do, let me get my tablet. Where's my tablet? Oh, this is my tablet, so I can you know wait, I have my tablet. Everything is kind of disorganized. Let me just plug it in. Okay, I got my tablet on. Okay, let me just get my tablet over here. Let me get my annotation. Got this annotation. So what we are going to do, we are given numbers like this, and we want to produce the output on the right side. Okay, so given this number, and we want to have number, so it says 3. Okay, so how are we going to do about that? Oh yeah, there's somebody entering the class. Please admit them. Okay, now how are we going to do that? Well, what we're going to do is this. First, remember when we talked about data set, okay? So we have to have a collection of data. So we have collection something like this, right? For example, we have 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So this is a set of, 0 to 9. And then we have another set, and so on and so on. So we have to have thousands of this. Okay, thousands of this. And they are in individual file. This is, for example, 0 dot whatever, 0 dash 123 dot give or whatever. And then this one is 0 dash 124 dot give. This is 0 125 dot jpeg or whatever, right? So basically you have to have lots of this data. Okay. Now, how are we going to do that? Well, if we want to create our own data set, then it's going to take years, right? We don't want to do that. And fortunately, somebody has collected this data as a data set. So we call it MNIST, handwritten digits database. If you look into this, you can search in the internet this MNIST, and let me show you the website. Let me just stop share. Let me go to the share of the website. Okay, here's the thing. Okay. So here is the MNIST database. Okay. So if you look at this, this database is actually from Modified National Institute of Standards Technology. So they created this database. And this is commonly used for training various image processing systems. The database is also widely used for training and testing in the field of machine learning. It was created by remixing the sample from NIST original datasets. So let's see. It is 24 times 24 pixels. So, the pixel is 24 by 24. And then it consists of 10,000. So it has 60,000 images for training later on, and we're going to use 10,000 for testing. Okay. So, okay, now, so this, let me go back to this. So basically what we have a data set. Hey, sorry, where is my, okay. Yeah, something like this, right? Okay, so we have this data set, something like this. 60,000 images in the database. Okay, so we can use them later on. Now, suppose we already have the data set. What are we going to do? What are we going to program? If we program directly in Python, just like what we did last time, it's going to be difficult and a hassle. It's going to be basically difficult. We're not going to do this. Even engineers is going to be crazy doing this. Now, fortunately, there is what we call a library for AI. For AI, machine learning, deep learning, or whatever you call it. Yeah. The first library is called TensorFlow. So TensorFlow, it's a library developed by Google. They developed this library, TensorFlow. It's an end-to-end open source machine learning platform. So because of this TensorFlow, the AI industry is going crazy, because instead of you program it in low level, you can program it in TensorFlow in higher level. Just like, remember the last time when we use Python to program and reading CSV and then plot using Matplotlib, remember? So that's how easy it is to program AI using TensorFlow. Because of TensorFlow, the field of AI, moves rapidly. And the nicest thing about TensorFlow, it's open source, so everybody can look at the code. And then also, it is available for multi-platform. It's available for Linux, Mac, Windows, and so on. So you can program. Even these days, there's also TensorFlow Lite for mobile phone. So you can run TensorFlow in mobile phone, okay, for TensorFlow. So everything now, if you talk about AI, everything is done in TensorFlow. Obviously, there are other libraries. There's Scikit. There's basically lots of AI library, but the mainstream is TensorFlow. Even Google created a training, basically tutorial, TensorFlow for poets. So for TensorFlow for human being, kind of, they created that workshop kind of with TensorFlow. TensorFlow is already easy, but now, on top of TensorFlow, there's also a group of people who are building another library called Keras. In Indonesia, keras. When I first look at it, ini kok keras ya? No, that's why ini keras. No, Pak, you pronounce it keras. Okay, now we know. Just like Batak, keras bah, gitu ya. Just like so you pronounce just like orang Batak, keras. Okay. Now, what Keras is a library built on top of TensorFlow. So TensorFlow, it's already easy, and then you build again a library on top of it, so it is much easier to write AI program. So basically, what they said, they said this: hey, if you want to program AI, I have to make sure that everybody can program AI, not just engineers, even managers can program AI, secretaries can program AI, moms can program AI, kind of. So that's the vision of Keras. Deep learning for humans. Basically, Keras is an API. API is an application programmer interface designed for human beings, not machines. So we'll see. So we are going to use these two libraries in our example to recognize the digits. Okay. So this what we are going to use. Okay. So that's that. Now let's open our Google Colab as you saw. Okay. You open your Colab, google.com. While you were doing that, kalau ada yang pertanyaan, if there's any question, feel free to ask. Let's start your Google Colab. And then I'll start mine, and then, we'll see. Let me get my Google Colab here. Okay, let me just start my Google Colab. I'll show it with you. Let me use Colab. Google Colab. Okay, let me share my screen again. Start screen. Okay, so you can see my screen, right? Okay, let me show you. Let me start with new notebook, right? Okay, let's start with new notebook. Okay. If you have any question, this is a bit difficult and not that difficult, so don't be afraid. But if you have any question along the way, feel free to ask. Ya, selalu tanya kalau ada pertanyaan langsung Pak Budi mau nanya, gitu ya. Oke. Kalau sudah siap semuanya, jempol dulu. Silahkan supaya kita bisa ini. Oke, siap. Jempol ya. Udah. Oke. Now, kita mulai ya, misalnya di sini kita atasnya kita ganti namanya, judulnya Pak. Kenali angka gitu misalnya. Oke. Atau ya kalau mau ini ya, digit recognition. Cognition misalnya. Oke, ya, let's change that one. just to make it easier, so it's not untitled in your Google Colab directory. Just in case 6 months from now you say, oh, I remember Pak Budi was asking me to do this. It's in my Google Google Drive. I can open it up. You can open it up and you can open it again. Okay. So now, as usual, you can print hello world. This is always me. Hello world. Let's start just to make sure our system is working. Always please print with hello world. Print and then you run it, and then just to make sure, see, it is initializing, allocating. Okay, so it says hello world. Okay, fine. Sudah? Now, as usual, we going to use the library TensorFlow. So you can put import now TensorFlow as TF. And then also again import TensorFlow dot Keras as Keras. Okay. And then you run it. Okay. It should have nothing, right? Okay. So that means it is okay. Now let me just print the version. Print TensorFlow dot underscore version underscore double underscore. And then if you run it, it will say version 2.8.0. Oke. Sampai di sini dulu. If you're already okay, give me your thumb again. Kalau belum, saya tunggu. If you have not done this, I'll wait. Okay. Okay, good. Now, what we are doing this, just like user, when we put import TensorFlow STF, this is just a shortcut. So instead of type in TensorFlow, we are going to type TF. Just like here, the print TF dot version, it's just, it's short. If we don't do that, if we don't import TensorFlow STF, we're going to write this one, TensorFlow, whatever, import TensorFlow, then it's going to be print TensorFlow dot underscore version. So this is just a shortcut. Jadi kalau kita buat import library as something, this is just to make it, like a shortcut. Yang bawah juga sama, import TensorFlow.keras as Keras. So later on when we want to call Keras, we can just call them Keras. Oke. Sampai sini oke ya. Dan ini versinya adalah versi 2.8.0. Ini juga untuk melihat di tutorial saya yang dulu ya, mungkin 6 bulan lalu saya pakai, it was 2.6.0. So this is happening very fast deh di dunia IT yang saya tidak suka. Kayak gini tuh. Update-nya, library-nya tuh update terus. Jadi saya belum tahu kalau kita akan jalan enggak. We don't know, maybe it works, maybe it doesn't work our class tonight, but we'll see. Okay. Now we already import our TensorFlow. We already have Keras, TensorFlow Keras ready to serve our program. Now what do we do? Now we want to load our dataset. So later on, we can use the data set from our own data set. For example, we are going to distinguish between cats and dogs or different kind of flowers. It's possible. But tonight, because of people are using this MNIST database very often, Google, TensorFlow, and Keras already provided this database for us easily. So what we're going to do is we're going to create code again here. We're going to call MNIST is equal TensorFlow Keras dataset MNIST. Okay, so we can run this. If you see the green check mark, oh, this is okay. So basically what we are doing is we are loading the TensorFlow, the MNIST database. That's 60,000. Okay. We're going to load them. This is just the definition. We have not load them. So remember when I said there are 60,000 training set and then 10,000 testing. If you want to test, if you want to create an AI system, you train with a set that 60,000 and then you test it with 10,000 that the system has not seen. Jadi kalau kita nge-training, kita training dengan satu tes, ya, satu set dataset, kemudian kita testing dengan dataset yang lain yang belum pernah dilihat oleh si sistem, gitu ya. So we have to separate these data sets into two. So in reality, ini data setnya itu nanti kita bagi dua, ada yang kita tes, ada yang di training, ya. So we're going to use that, okay? What we are going to do, we're going to use X train. This is and Y train. X is the image, Y train is the label, okay? So that's the training set, and then X test is for testing and Y test. Okay, and then we're going to load it. This is the actual load. mnist load underscore data. If you look into my screen, usually there is a help, like when I type in load underscore, and in my screen there's a completion load data. I can just hit enter and it will, continue with whatever on the screen. Okay. If I want to show what data it is, what it is, I can put this X train. I want to know how many the size of the X train dot shape. Okay, if I run it, yeah, it will load the data and it will plot the shape of this X train. I'll explain. So again, the first line is just to assign that I'm going to use this as a MNIST is actually a data set, right? Kemudian yang the actual loading is the second line. This is actually the loading. This is fast because we are on Google and the data set is on Google. Kalau kita melakukan ini di komputer kita, ini downloading dulu nih, downloading 60.000 data, di download dulu, ya. Jadi 60.000 data, di download, oke? Okay? Nah, kita pengen meng-set datanya. We want to set the data into two groups, the training set and the testing set. The X train is the image 28 by 28. There are 60,000 of it. Sorry, yeah, 60,000. Underneath you see print X train shape. So it is basically printing the number of the size. If you create another one, right? For example, underneath I can print X test dot shape, and it should give me the X test is 10,000. So the actual image there are 70,000. Jadi image kita tuh sebenarnya ada 60.000 untuk training dan 10.000 untuk tes, gitu ya. Jadi ada 60.000 image 28 kali 28 ukurannya image-nya tuh, ya. Dan ada 10.000 28 kali 28. Yang X itu isinya image semua. Image. Jadi agak angka 3, angka 2 segala macam. Yang Y itu labelnya, namanya. Misalnya ada gambar angka 3, labelnya dia bilang 3. Ada angka 7, labelnya 7 gitu ya kan ya. Nah, yang Y train itu isinya angkanya tadi, ya, interpretasi kita gitu ya. Sampai di sini oke dulu nggak? Sebelum kita melanjutkan. Masih belum ngertinya di mana? Silahkan.
Nggak running, Pak.
Ya?
Error.
Oke, hang on second. Let me allow you to share the screen. Syafira sudah oke. Oke. Silakan, Dela, show me your screen. Biasanya typo atau apa? Okay, let me just see your screen. Invert MNIST data extract. Oh, kurungnya itu bukan kurung kurawal. Kurungnya adalah parenthesis, kurung buka, kurung tutup. Nah, yang di extract juga sama. Oke. Do that. Oke, test again. Yes, oke. Now, ini kalau gini printnya juga beda nih. Printnya train bukan comma shape tapi dot shape. Kalau dia print extract, dia akan print semua extract 60.000 tuh di print. Untung layarnya dia bilang sampel ya. Kalau enggak nih 60.000 tuh di print sampai ke bawah. Wah, mampus kita ya. Jadi extract dot shape itu bukan comma shape. Yang print ya. That's dot. Oke. Nah, jadi dia bilang, oh ini 60.000. Oke. Oke, yang belum siapa? Oke.
Sir, saya boleh, Sir, this is Kadek.
Oh ya.
May I see the import TensorFlow part, sir? Because
Okay.
I'm not running.
Okay, let me just show you my screen again. Show my screen again. Oke, ini. Jadi mnis dot load dataset. Load underscore data.
Oh,
Oke,
yang di atasnya, sir, sorry.
yang di atasnya mana? Yang ini?
Yang import, ya.
Oke.
Oke.
Yang lainnya yang sudah ini ulangi lagi, jempol, thumbs if you're already done. Oke.
Sir,
Yes.
why yours at print xtest.shape itu 10.000 while mine is 60.000, Pak?
Oh, oke. Yang di atas ya, yang di bagian
Oke,
atas ini
di bawah
itu xtrain. Yang di bawah xtest. Ya. Jadi ini ada dua dataset yang untuk training itu 60.000, yang dataset untuk testing nanti 10.000 yang di bawah xtest. 60.000. Show me your screen.
Oh, this is the new ini ya, perintah ya.
Oh ya, new perintah baru lagi di bawah. Yang ini perintahnya ini nggak penting-penting amat, cuma saya kalau pengen tertarik gitu ya. Lagi? Oke, kalau sudah jempol. Oke ya. So, jadi kalau ada ini, kalau masih belum jelas tanya ya, supaya kita nanti nggak turut-turut melambat ke sana-sana gitu ya. Jadi kalau pas lagi awal nggak apa-apa, tanya juga, kita lambat-lambat nggak apa-apa. So if you have any questions, feel free to ask right now. Don't wait until the end or in the middle, because it's going to be you're going to, we're building something on top of this, right? So I'm going to make sure that the foundation is clear. Okay, sampai di sini oke ya. So now what we are doing so far is we have installed the TensorFlow, we have installed Keras and ready, and now we have also load our dataset 60,000 of images and labels as our training set, and then we have 10,000 image and labels for testing. Okay. So how do we know our data is correct? Okay, let me just delete this. I'm going to plot it. So now I'm going to show the image. Import again matplotlib. Remember matplotlib plot as plt. Okay, matplotlib. Okay, and then I'm going to show. Say I want to find the PLT image show, IM show, image show. Let's plot the training set number 73, say x train square, kena array ya, number 73 for example. Okay, saya pengen liatin skin PLT show. Okay, let's do this. Okay, so if I run this, it will show, oke, ini datasetnya kayak gini, 6. Yang ke-73 ini isinya 6. The dataset number 73 is 6. If I want to find the number 75, run it again. Okay, it's 0. Okay. And there are 60,000 of them. The X-train. You can also plot the X-test if you want. This is just to test what are the data sets, what they look like. Jadi ini adalah proses kita ngelihat 60.000 dataset itu isinya kayak gini ya. Ini yang dataset yang ke-75 ya. Yang ke-76, karena kalau kita kan mulainya dari 0 ya. Jadi kalau kita pengen yang 0, X-train yang pertama, dataset yang pertama itu ini. Nah, ini angka berapa nih? 5
angka 5 tidak jelas.
5 tidak jelas kan ya. Nah, jadi nanti kan gitu kan. Kadang-kadang ada orang yang 5 urak-urak kayak gini ya.
3, sir.
3 ya, dibilang ini 3 atau 5. Ah, nanti kita bisa lihat. Kalau kalian tahu, ini apa? Kita lihat labelnya. Y-train, kita lihat Y-train 0 ini apa? Katanya dia apa nih aslinya? Ini enggak di print. Sorry. Ini kalau ini show ya, kalau yang ini kita di print aja ya. Print Y-train, nah, nomor 0 ya kayaknya. Nah, kita cek. Gambarnya gitu, di bawahnya tuh 5 tuh. Ini 5.
Oh, keluar ya tadi ya bawahnya ya berarti ya?
Ya labelnya tuh jadi.
Labelnya keluar ya tadi Pak ya? Oh iya benar Pak. Ya, Pak.
Ini adalah dataset yang memang kita kasih label. Gambarnya gini, labelnya apa? Gambar ini labelnya apa? These are labeled by hands.
Ya.
So we're going to use this as a training set. Ini belum ada AI-nya, ini adalah dataset yang dilabel by humans. These are images labeled by human. Let's see the number of 73, right? For example, and what is the label there? Okay. So the image is this, the label is 6 too. So there are 60,000 images, labeled images. Okay, can imagine, right?
That mean this Pak, question Pak. That mean just now what we are doing is just showing the data.
Correct.
Not
The training data.
Not any AI, OCR, whatever.
No.
Not yet ya Pak ya.
Not yet. These are the training data.
Oke Pak, noted.
So if we are, using, say, for example, labeling Copra, for example, the same thing. This is good. This is bad. This is good. This is bad. You have to label them one by one. Okay. Sampai di sini okay? Give me your thumbs if it's okay. So yeah, this is just to show you how to do that. Okay, now we are getting into the most difficult part, the AI itself, the programming itself. Now, remember that when we are loading this, the image is scanned, and it is scanned according to, I can't remember the rules, right? But we want to make sure that this is grayscale, 0 sampai 255, not like this, not image color and things like that. So we have to process the data first before we are going to feed this into our AI. So that's the thing. If you have a data, you still have to make sure your data is good so your AI can learn. So you can feed this directly to this AI machine. Obviously you can, but usually the accuracy is not good if you already have a good pre-trained sample. Jadi datasetnya pun harus kita bersihkan dulu gitu ya. Nah jadi kita ingin membuatnya ini kita beresin dulu ya. Now, to do that, let's write a code. Nah, yang ini agak susah ya. I'm going to copy this. Ini ada tutorialnya sebetulnya. Okay. Now, if we run this, okay. Nah, what we are doing this, okay. Xtrain is equal tf.keras.utils.normalize. Ini ya, kurung buka ya, parenthesis x_train. X is equal 1. So what we are going to do is we are going to normalize the image. Basically ada mekanisme untuk menormalisasi image-nya gitu. We don't have to do this, but this to make it easier for the AI to do that. Okay. Now, after this, we can also print again, right? For example, we do this, right? Okay, sorry. We already done that. Now let's create another code. Okay, sorry. Undercode-nya jangan di sana, di bawahnya. Oh iya. Okay, I want to create another code. Okay, code tambahan. Okay. Now I want to show PLT image show. Okay, again ya, image show x_train. Tadi yang 75 lagi ya. Train berapa tadi? 73, 75, 73 ya. 73. Okay. Now what we are going to do now. C map ini color map. I want to use the binary. Binary meaning okay, so this is what we're going to use. So this is the 6 is what we have in the data set. Okay, what we are doing right now is to normalize them so that angkanya itu akan kita buat menjadi black and white seperti ini. Jadi angkanya ini namanya dibuat seperti ini. Itu melakukan pre-processing aja ya. Tidak harus, ini hanya untuk langkah membuatnya menjadi lebih gampang kalau kita merecognize ini. Kalau kita image-nya beda, image anjing, image kucing, segala macam, maybe we don't have to do this. Ya. Ini hanya untuk memudahkan untuk handwritten aja. Why we are doing this? Because somebody already done it and we just copy. Okay, that's how they do it. Okay.
Normally, on which condition, but we will do this kind of change to the gray or something like that?
Okay. Now, usually we run it directly with this, right? We run it directly into our AI to produce the model, right? And then we found out, oh, okay, the accuracy is 73, for example. Okay, what if we do this and then we run it again? Oh, the accuracy becomes 80, for example. Oh, so it's actually better. Sometimes when we do this, the accuracy doesn't change that much. So there's no point in doing this.
I see.
Okay, so it's a bit trial and error. And usually what we are doing is we make things easier for the AI machine, basically. This is a grayscale, meaning that if you have the grayscale, meaning that the white is 255, the dark black is 0, the value. So this is 28 by 28. So you can see that if it's bright, it is the value of that pixel. That dot is 255, 255, 255, 255. And then there's black, some kind of grayish. It is probably 170 probably. Even darker, okay, 55. Even darker again, 0, for example, right? Okay. So this image that are the one we are going to feed into our machine. Okay. Sampai di sini okay? Sorry if you have to type in this, and if there's a typo, fix it. I'm going to wait. Okay. Udah? Let me see your. Okay, Claire already done. Daniel done. Okay. Nurdin done. Let me just wait for the rest of you. Okay, because the next one, again, it's getting more difficult, more difficult, right? Okay, now this is the most difficult part. Okay, now remember when I said earlier that we want to create this. Let me just show you again the PowerPoint, right? Remember, this is what we want, right? We want to have. I'm not showing this in full screen. That's fine, right? So we want to create these layers, this first layer, second layer, third layer, and so on, right? The layering of the what do you call it? The neurons, right? Remember from last week, right? How do we create this layer of the first layer, second layer, third layer? Now, if we want to do programming it the old way, it's going to be difficult. But with Keras, we can say, okay, I want to add this layer. What kind of layer it is? Well, and then I want to create the next layer. What kind of layer it is? So we can just stack layers and layers and layers and layers in Keras. So that's what we are going to do. Is we're going to do that. This is what we're going to do. Let me just go back to this. Okay. So I'm going to copy and paste this into my screen, and then I'm going to show you. Okay, add another code. This is what I have. Let me just put in chat so that you don't have to type in the whole thing. Okay, let me put in your chat. Okay, there. You can copy it from your chat and put it there. Okay. So let me explain to you. Okay. So what we are going to use, what we are going to create is a model. Okay. The block thing, the AI itself, it's what we call a model. Jadi yang mau kita create itu namanya model. Model itu ada super model. Model itu empek-empek model juga ada ya. Kita makan empek-empek. Model ini apa ya? So when we create an AI, what we create is a model. So now what we are doing, the first layer, remember the first layer is the model equal TensorFlow Keras model sequential. Okay. So this is going to, what we are going to say to Keras, hey, I want to create a layer. So it's sequential layer. Okay, the first layer, second layer, third layer, and so on. So the following code is going to be layer, something like that. Okay, we can create complex things, but this is the easiest way to do it. Yeah, and then let Keras deal with it. So I want to create layers. So this is what I'm saying in the first line. Hey, Keras, I want to create an object. I call it model. And it's going to be sequential. Okay. The second layer, okay, I'm going to add into the model. The first layer, okay, model add TensorFlow Keras layers flatten. Now, what do you mean by flatten? Remember, we're going to input 28 by 28 pixels of image, right?
Yeah.
Kan ya? Nah, gimana kita memasukkan? How do we enter 28 by 28 images? So what we are going to do, we're going to flatten. It's 28, 28. So the layers is not square, but we're going to put it, as one long array. So 28 by 28 berapa ya? 28 kali 28 berapa ya? Let me just do this. Kita 28 kali 28. 784.
84.
Yeah. So what we have is 784 itu neuron. So the input to the first layer, the image is going to be enter into this yang pertama itu akan di-flatkan semua. So we have the first layer is the input layer is 784 neurons. Each neuron is going to be connected to one of the pixels here. Okay. Sampai di sana oke, the first layer, the flattened one? Oke ya? Oke ya? Sampai di situ oke, masih? Ya.
Coba.
Oh, yeah. So that what we are going to do, let me just create, let me see if I can write on this screen. Let me just annotate screen. Okay. So what we are going to do is we are going to create something like this, okay? Ini kan ada image ya. Ini image-nya mau saya masukkan ke neuron deh. Ini kan kalau ini okay, this is 28 by 28 kan ya?
Ya.
So masukin ke neuron gimana caranya ya? Oh okay, so what we are going to do is going to have like this kind of neurons. And there are 784 neurons. So the first pixel is going to be connected to this, right? For example, ini pixel berikutnya, I don't know. Gitu ya. So each neuron is going to be connected to each pixel of this. Okay, yeah. So this is what this flatten. Sampai di sini oke? Ada yang masih pusing? Okay, so this is the first layer, our first layer. Second layer. Now, second layer, we're going to have more neurons here. How many neurons that we are going to have? The second layer is this. We're going to have only 128 neurons. So from this 700, this one is 784, right? We're going to narrow it down into 100 into 128. So this is connected. This is connected, and so on. And this again, the second is connected. So the connection is kind of messy. This is what we call dense. So that's why it says dense. Okay. So we go. Yeah, silakan.
128 a variable, just the constanta that we put today now at this example, Pak. Okay.
Yeah. We can make it 256. We can make it 64. It's just basically this is trial and error kind of.
Okay. Okay.
For us. Okay. So anyway, the second layer is that the ReLU. Remember when we have remember when we said the okay, this is not important lah. Jadi kalau kita punya neuron, remember when we have neuron, this is X1, W1. Sorry, multiplier, and then there is output, and then there is activation function. ReLU is something like this. The outputnya itu supaya dibatasi tidak ke atas, jadi dia ReLU gitu ya. ReLU bukan itu ya. ReLU itu kalau negatif dia akan 0. So if negatif dia akan 0. Nanti kita lihat ya ReLU kayak gimana. Oke. Anyway ya, nah ini, so we have the first layer. Remember the first layer? We have the first layer is input. And let me get another drawing. Okay. So this one, that one, and then the next one we have also again 100. Sorry, 100. Let me just write again. 100. This is this one. Again 128. So how many layers inside this? We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 kind of. Okay. So this is Pak, why do you put 5? Why not 3? Why not 7? Again, this is trial and error. We can do that later on when we after this we can modify this easily. Okay? Sampai di sini oke dulu. This is how we stack the layers. Sampai sini oke. Give me your thumbs if it's okay. Kalau masih
Sir?
confused. Yes.
Could you please explain again about how makes 700 into 128?
This one? Okay. The first layer, is it okay?
Like yeah, first is okay. Is it like make the 7 into first and the 7 to 40 make into the second?
Mm-hmm. So basically, yes. We have 785 neurons in the first layer. Okay, that's okay, right? In the second layer, we have 128 neurons only. Now, the question is, why 100 and 128, right? Well, you can... Yeah, Claire.
Yeah, how to reduce like 700 into 100?
Now, remember when we have this is what we call dense. Remember the TF layer dense. Okay, in this there's the word dense. Okay, dense means every neuron is connected to every neuron. So 784 here, the first neuron is going to be connected to all 128 here neuron.
Oh, I got it. Okay.
Okay. And then the second neuron also connected to 128. We don't really care, but they're all connected. If the connection is not important, the weight is going to be 0 anyway. I see, right? So if the first neuron it should not be connected to the first neuron, also this weight is going to be 0, which means there is connection. But if you multiply it with 0, it's going to be 0 anyway. So, okay. So you have dense, remember these are, lots of connection. And the nicest thing about Keras is that all we have to do, sorry, let me just erase this. All we have to do is just do this, okay? And then we just write it multiple times, okay? So this is what we are going to do. This is what we are doing. So we have 1, 2, 3, 5, yeah? So this one is 5 layers. 5 hidden layers. Okay. And then the last one. Now, the last one, this one, it has only 10 neurons. Okay. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Only 10. Now, why we are only 10? Remember, we're going to assign 0 to 9. This is what we call the class. Okay. So, at the end, we're going to, this is what we call the classifier. Okay. We're going to assume that if the number is 0, this is 0, this is 1, this is 2, this is 3, this is 4, this is 5, this is 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay. The softmax, this will say, okay, only one of these will fire or will be 1, the rest will be 0. Only one. So if I are given this, the number 6, okay, the classifier, this should fire, okay, this should, this node, this neuron should be, the output should be 1 or close to 1, maybe 0.998 or whatever, right? The rest, this one, the output is going to be 0.001, or I don't know. This one is 0.002. This one is 0.00001. This is probably 0.09 or whatever, right? Basically, they're very small numbers. Only one of them is high. Okay, so this is the output. That's why we wanted 10. Say if we want to distinguish between cats and dogs. There are only 2 classes, right? So the output is, this one is 2 instead of 10. Oke. Okay? Jadi bagian terakhir ini adalah classifiernya. yang akan membedakan ini. Since we have only 0 to 9, they have 10 classes, right? They call it ada 10 jenis beda. They have 10 classes. If we have cats and dogs, only 2 classes. If we have 5 different, say, flowers, then the class it should be 5 also. Okay? Sampai di sini okay? Give me your thumbs if it's okay. What we are doing here is we creating the architecture of the our neural network, our machine. Okay, this is what we want to create. There are all kinds of architecture. This is the simplest one. Okay, let me clear this, right? Saya hapus dulu ya. Okay, now run it and see what's happening. Okay, just click it. It should do nothing basically. Green if it's already okay. Now create another code. So what we have done so far, we have used TensorFlow, Keras, we prepare it. We already upload the data set. Okay, we already create the architecture. Now we are going to do the learning, the actual learning. So to do the learning, there are certain parameters that we have to set. Okay, how do we are going to run? How many times it's going to run and things like that. Now, again, this is by let me just copy the model compilation. Okay, let me just put again also in your chat so you don't have to type in. Where's my chat? Okay, okay. So you have that one on your screen, right? So this is what we are going to use the optimizer. If you run it, there's nothing. Okay, so we're going to do this. Okay, now we're going to ask the machine, hey machine, please make this model. I have to create it. Make this model into an internal representation of the AI machine. If we want to program this, it's going to be complicated, but we are not going to do that and let the TensorFlow and Keras do the work. So what we are going to say this, when we do the training, there are several optimizers. Optimizers meaning, there are strategy to learn. Now, there are different strategies. This one is called, the optimizer is called Adam. So yeah, Pak, how do you know Adam? Because somebody else done it. There are a list of optimizers, and we are going to pick Adam. Because this is the best for this particular examples. Okay, we'll go. Basically, sometimes what we are doing is we are copying other people and said, oh, okay, he's doing great, so I'm going to use that one. Now, when we run this, when we train. Obviously, when we are given the image 6, it will produce incorrect at the first time, right? 3. Oh, okay. Now, how do we know that the model is good or bad? How do we compare it? Now, we're going to collect the errors. The errors. If, say, for example, if I'm giving it 6 and then it will output 3, okay, error. Please correct it again. Now, how do we do this? Now, the loss, the error, we call it the loss, okay, the loss function. How bad it is our model. Now, there are many ways to use it. Statistically, there's a least square, and then, but this one, they call it sparse categorical cross entropy, meaning, well, in AI machine learning, we can do so many things. Now, what we are going to do here is we want to put category, for example, right? Category is within this 10 classes, which one is the perfect match. So we put this into one category. Given an image this, okay, that one is image 6. So that one is categorical. But there's also other ways of running AI. It's not categorizing, but to check the confidence. For example, is this the picture of Budi? Okay, that's not categorical. So basically to say how confidence for you that this is a picture of Budi. So the output is not Budi or not Budi, right? But the output 80%, 5%, 95%. So that's a different way to train the system also. So that's the loss function. For this particular case, we just use this. Okay, we just have to follow me ya. Jadi percayalah dengan Pak Budi gitu ya. Now, at the end of the day, what are we going to measure? This one, the metrics, it could be the accuracy, it could be other things. But now let's focus on accuracy aja. Jadi kalau ada 6, if we are given the number 6 and then the output 3, so that's wrong. Given again the number 1, the output is 1. Okay, that's correct. So how many times we are wrong and how many times we are correct? That's what we call accuracy. From 60,000 images, how many times we failed, because it's not going to be 100%. Okay, now that's what. Now this is what we're going to do. Now we are going to train it. Now the training is this: model, fit. Now we are going to say, oh, okay, what are we going to use? We're going to use our training set, and why train is the label. And then we want to use it epoch. Epoch is the number of things you want to do it. So now when we run it, it's going to take forever. So what we are going to do is from this 60,000, we're going to test each image, right? And then we run it. How many times we're going to run it? 10 times. Jadi kita mengujinya dengan 60.000 data tadi, kita uji 10 kali epochnya. 10 kali 10 putaran lah gitu. Is it running on yours?
Yes, Pak.
Okay. Now, if you look at the right side, right, the accuracy is 0.9199, right, and it's increasing. Jadi dia semakin lama semakin bagus ya, increasing from 0. Nah, at the end, hopefully it's closer to, sometimes it's going up and then going down, up, down, down, right? Jadi ini harusnya makin lama makin bagus ya. That's the accuracy. The loss function is to tell you how bad it is. Okay, so the first epoch, you see that when we first run it, it's actually pretty good. It's already about 92% correct, right? Yeah. But the loss function is 0.2 or 0.26, right? The epoch number 2, the second try, we put again the 60,000 again, and then we use that optimizer and things like that to learn. It's getting better, it's getting better, it's getting better. So this is 10 times, and at the end of the day, our system, the accuracy is this, okay, 0.9926. So it is 99.27% accurate. Okay. And the loss function, the badness is 0.0, which is good. If it's closer to 0, this is good, the loss function. Meaning the error is small. You can have an accuracy 0.9 something, right? But the loss can be also great. So meaning that there are some data that, is very random. You got the accuracy correct, but the data is not good. You know that your data, there's something wrong with your data set. You can, the machine still got it correct, but you have to make sure, oh yeah, the data set is bad. I'm going to look into data set and see what's happening here. Gitu ya. Jadi ukuran kita adalah akurasi. Misalnya kasih gambar, ini dia benar enggak. Loss function untuk menunjukkan errornya ya, errornya. Error selama kita training. Okay. Now, sampai di sini oke, kalau sudah ini. Jadi kita nge-training mesinnya itu kayak gini. Sometimes it can be done in just like what we did, 10 epoch it's done. Sometimes, and this is for every epoch, it says 7 seconds. Yeah, 7 seconds, 7 detik ya. 7 seconds for every epoch. And sometimes when we are doing this for image processing, say face detection and recognition, for example, sometimes the first epoch is already taken, say, 1 hour. So if you run this, then it's going to be 10 hours. You have to run this Google Colab 10 hours. Okay. And in my case, for our system, the one that we are using, the digital signage, the training is 20 days. 20 days, remember? And the layers, not only 5 hidden layers, 75 hidden layers. That's why it takes so long. Bentar, saya lihat chatnya dulu. Ada apa nih yang ngechat? Bentar, saya lihat chat. Oke. Oke, Nurdin. Oke. Ada pertanyaan kah? Nah, sekarang kita udah punya modelnya. Now, later on we're going to use it. Okay. Now we already have a machine that can recognize this. Now, how do we use it? Now, tapi sampai sini dulu. Sudah oke dulu nggak? Up this point, you got it?
Yeah.
Okay. Give me your thumbs if you are already okay. So,
Yes, sir.
yes, Claire.
As for our verification website, we also like the flatten picture and the dance. Okay.
Yes.
Thank you, sir.
We can go back to this and we can change later on after we done everything, right? We can go back to this and say, I don't want 5 layers. What if we can do it in 3 layers? We can also go back to the beginning again. We don't do the flatten. Let's just feed it directly and see the accuracy. Okay. If the accuracy is good enough, say 80%, okay, I'm going to take it anyway, so we don't have to do processing. That is also fine. Okay.
If we use more layers, does it means more accurate?
Not necessarily. For example, in this particular case, 5 layers is already say 99%, right? Which is good. If we put say 15 layers, now the training is not going to be 7 seconds. Probably the training is going to be 5 minutes for every FO. Do you want to waste your time, waiting for this? We don't want, right? Obviously, yeah, we want to make it as small as possible.
Depends on the how big the picture is.
The picture is how complex it is, because this one is very simple, right? Handwritten. But if we have, say, for example, we want to recognize different kind of disease, for example, or different kind of products. Now that's going to be a little difficult than this.
Okay, understand. Thank you, sir.
Yeah. So the number of layers may not necessarily increase the accuracy, okay, but it is definitely increase the number of computation. Okay. Later on we can add. After this finish, we're going to put 15 layers, for example, right? Okay, and then see how we increase. If we want to do that, right, later on, right, we can copy and paste and then just add these layers underneath this. Right? That's how easy it is. Okay. Jadi demikian ya. Nanti kita akan coba main-main kalau kita main-mainkan dengan layers yang berbeda ya. Ini udah selesai. Give me your thumbs. Okay. Now, assuming we already have the model, this model is great. This is the model is great. Now we want to test it. Okay. Now the testing part is a bit also difficult. This one, let me just copy the code, right? But I'm going to let's add code, right? Put this one here. Sorry. Okay. Now I'm going to put again in the chat. But the problem with the chat, if I put this, right? Sometimes remember the indentation. Make sure it looks something like this. So copy and paste, but it may make sure it looks something like this, something like mine here. Remember, because Python indentation is very important. It looks something like this. Okay, copy and paste it first. Now you can run it. Okay. And if it's something like this, it is already correct. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So what we are going to do, okay. This is still in, what we are going to do, we're going to use sample from our, this one is from the training set, it's still the training set. We want to use the sample number 5, number 38, number 3,939, sample number 27,389, right? Okay. What we are going to use is we're going to use sample number this, Now we set up. Okay. We just basically do this. We want to, and then we plot it. Is just to show you what it is, right? This is just to show you. Okay. Okay. This is not prediction yet. We just want to show you. Okay, put it this in array. Okay. To show you. Okay, this is what we are going to predict. Now, how are we going to predict it? Okay. Now again, let's just add code. Okay, I'll just add code at the end. Now, we're going to have this NumPy again. Okay, let's just put this, and I'm going to copy that one again in our chat. Okay. So what we have here, remember the top part is we are putting this 4 images, right? Sorry, number 5, 38. These 4 samples, right? We put it into an array. We call it samples to predict. Okay, those 4 numbers we put it. So if we print the sample to predicts, there are 4 images, and every images it's 28 by 28. Okay, this is just to make sure that I want to test this. Okay, ada 4 yang mau saya tes masing-masing 28 kali 28 ukurannya. Ini di atas ini hanya untuk nunjukin saya mau ngapain sih, mau ngetesnya ini. Ya, we don't have to do this. We can use samples, and then these are just to make it just we know yang mau kita tes apa ya. Sebenarnya nggak usah ini juga nggak apa-apa. Ya. Okay. Now if you run it, you got this. Now how do we predict? Okay. Now what we use this, we use this code again. Now, again, I'm just going to copy and paste. Again, ya, mana Kush chat. Okay. Okay. So what we are going to do, we say the predictions, ya, the predictions model. Nah, modelnya tadi ya, ini udah jadi. Oke, predict these 4 images. Okay. Jadi kita melakukan prediction itu cuma gini tadi. Hey, 4 images itu apa aja? Ya. Terus kita print hasilnya. Hasilnya bentuknya kayak gini nih. Sebetulnya ini kalau kita lihat ya, yang pertama kan angka 2 ya. Angka 2 kan ya. Ya kalau kita lihat ini kan angka 2 ya. The first image is the number 2, right? Okay. So the prediction is something like this. Remember the last layer. Okay. Remember the last layer. Let me just show you. Let me draw it. This is okay. Let me just show you the draw part. Okay, this. Okay. Remember the last layer we have 10, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, right? And it's this one correspond to 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, right? Yang ini ya. What is the value of the output of each neuron here? Now, each neuron is this. Itu adalah 2 point something kali 10 pangkat minus 12. Okay. The second one is this. The output is 1.9 kali 10 pangkat minus 9. The third one is, this one is 9.9999 kali 10 pangkat minus 1. Atau dengan kata lain, this one is 0.999 something, right? The fourth one is again a small number, 8.9 kasih 10 pangkat minus 8. So we can see that the output is this, right? Okay, this is just an array, the outputs of this. This is for the 2. Terus berapa lagi tadi angkanya?
7.
7 and then
6.
7 and then 6.
3.
And if you can look into this array, the array number 7 starting from 0, remember, it's the bigger 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Remember, you see, this is the 7, right? And then the 6, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Nah, okay. 0, 1, 2, 3. Remember too. Oke, jadi ini udah bisa memprediksi. So this to tell that our model actually show the exact value. But the output is not good, right? For our eyes, but the itself. Nanti kita perhatikan, kita tampilkan yang lebih bagus ininya gitu ya. Oke. Now how do we make it lebih bagus ya? Oke. Kalau gimana kita buat yang lebih bagus? Oke, let's see this. Now we can do this classes. Ya kan ini gitu ya. Argmax ya. Predictions axis sama dengan 1. Oke. Sekarang kita print classes. Oke, benar nggak ya? Coba ya. Print and no, sorry. Sama dengan ini kok. Oke, nah dia bilang tuh 72763. Nah, this command is basically takes the maximum value of each ini. Which one of this has the maximum value? So let me just what this mean, right? The argmax itu adalah dari angka-angka di sini mana yang paling maksimum dan maksimumnya itu which entry. So the first one 12012. Okay, the first one the 2 is the highest maximum. Okay, the second one the maximum. What is the maximum value? Is the array number 7. Okay, jadi ini hanya untuk menentukan itu aja sih sebetulnya. To make it easier for us to read. Jadi ini hanya gitu. Okay. But it's already there in the numbers. It's just it's a different difficult to see. But if you do it like this, you can see, oh yeah, that number 2763. So our model can works perfectly untuk ini. Gitu. So this is our programming to create a model. So basically, you have created your first model, AI model, to recognize handwritten. Ada pertanyaan? Is there any question? So this is basically AI is something like this when you're doing it. The simplest one, right? The simplest one is this. Ada pertanyaan? Any question? Pusingnya di mana? Silakan. Kalau udah ngerti jempol. Ini kita cuma ini aja sih kelasnya malam ini. So this is it. But we can experiment later on with this. Sekarang ini dulu. Oke. Oke, Dela tidak mengertinya mulai dari mana?
My connection is off, so I just skip a couple of minutes, and now I'm just joining from my mobile.
Oke, ya. Nanti ya mudah-mudahan ya videonya once I uploaded the video, hopefully you can understand it. Okay, yeah.
So, Pak, actually, this is you said before, this is an AI to recognize handwriting.
Yes.
In the application itu how, Pak?
Nah, di application misalnya ada orang sulit nulis, oke, tulis angka 7, nanti dia keluarnya angka dengan model ini dia bilang 7. Nah, modelnya yang kita buat tadi, our model, ya, oke, so okay, let me just clear this one. Let me just clear this, right? So what we have now, remember when we have this model, okay? So the hang on, where's my drawing? Okay, here's my drawing. So what we have here, okay, we have a blocks here of neuron, whatever connection, whatever, right? We call this a model. So a model is collection of neurons, ya. Jadi this is what architecture. And the weights, right? The weights, because of the learning, it's basically setting the weights, right? So once we have this model, once we training, the input originally is 28 by 28 pixel input, right? And then the output will say, this is the number 7, for example, right? If you give it a 7. So once you have the model, now once you have the model, I can give it an input, okay, let me just give it an input, and then it will say exactly. So if I say this, and then the model will say 3. Okay, let me give you, what if I change this? Okay. If I give you number 2, it will say 2. So this is actually, this box is a black box that can understand this character recognition. Gitu ya. Now, if I have a sequence of numbers, say for example, kita nulis, oke, tolong tuliskan NIM Anda. Saya adalah 132738101 misalnya gitu kan ya. Ini angkanya berapa nih? Nah, kita masukkan ke sini. But what we are doing is that because it can only understand 1 digit at a time, we have to parse this, we have to kotak-kotakin ini jadi satu-satu. The first digit kasih ke sini. Oke, it's 1. Second digit kotakin lagi masukin di sini. Oh, it's 3. Okay. So we can recognize this and then it will become 132738101. So it can recognize all this character. Gitu ya. Nah, ininya jadi kita treat ini as a black box now. Dikasih gambar, dia keluar angka, udah. Dia bisa ngerti. Jadi this one is a black box. We have machine that can recognize character recognition. Ini aplikasinya kayak gitu. Kalau lain lagi nih, ini ya karakternya kasih karakter. Nah, another version is that if we train a system to understand cats and dogs, we can take a picture this and then we can say cat, dog. Another system we can create and training to understand orang pakai masker atau enggak. So this is a picture of a person. If it's wearing masker, dia bilang mask on. If the person is not wearing masker, dia bilang mask not on. Gitu ya. Jadi ininya setelah kita training, kita nggak tahu algoritmanya kayak apa di dalamnya. Kalau kita buat program, kita harus buat algoritmanya. Ini, itu, ini. Kalau ini nggak kita kasih contoh berkali-kali tadi ya, sayangnya dia bisa membedakan sesuatu sesuai dengan data yang kita training tadi. Pemakaiannya adalah seperti itu aplikasinya. Nah, kalau di dalam ban berjalan, misalnya saya di pabrik, kita akan menggunakan, we're going to use this in belt ya, running belt, misalnya untuk membedakan parts that are broken atau faulty atau apa. Di pabrik kita misalnya untuk menginspeksi, we are going to inspect in a bread production factory, for example. In a bread production factory, we can see, okay, the picture of the bread, okay, this bread's okay. Another picture of bread, okay. And then another picture of bread, probably coak atau apa, bread not okay. Jadi dia bisa dipakai itu untuk misalnya membedakan roti bagus dengan roti tidak bagus. Hanya 2 kelas misalnya. Right? We can also training that one. We can also have this. Gitu ya Dela ya. Jadi aplikasinya adalah seperti itu. Ada lagi? Yes.
Ya, back to your own ini ya Pak, your own yang tesnya Bapak tentang plat nomor.
Ya.
Kan you did the similar thing like Pak.
Correct.
Terus itu resultnya itu apa? What
Yeah.
will the
Okay, let me just show you
propose?
let me just show you the YouTube ya. Saya taruh dulu ya, saya inginkan dulu ya. RKB license plate. Oke. Bentar ya. Riset kecerdasan buatan. Nah, ya, sebentar. Saya share lagi. Where's my Zoom? Let me share you. Ini ya. Nah, bentuknya kayak gini. Ya.
With Unstoppable
Hari ini
NFT
iklan dulu ya.
Romance, you can combine all your different wallet addresses into one single username.
Oke, this is an example. Nah, ini ya kalau saya ini beneran, this is real. Nah, gitu. Ini di tempat parkir, this is in parking space. Ada mobil masuk, ya, and it will recognize the license plate. slang, udah langsung. Kalau orangnya ini, if this car is registered to the building, can open right directly, or it can charge directly to your mobile phone, for example. Jadi exactly like what we did. A bit complicated, but the flow is exactly what we are doing. Gitu ya. Jadi ini contoh aplikasinya.
Oh, kalau current situation kan masih manually ya Pak ya, dicatat sama petugasnya gitu.
Ya, jadi
So,
kalau yang sekarang itu sebenarnya petugasnya ngintip kan ke kanan gitu kan ya.
ya,
Keluar
ya,
itu.
kayak
Sebetulnya
gitu.
no need to do that. Tinggal pasang AI kita taruh dikasih kamera langsung keluar. Si petugasnya bisa ngincar aja langsung ini. Dan ini sebetulnya udah kita cobain juga di jalan tol. Jadi jalan tol itu kalau we already tested this in tol, jalan tol udah. Jadi itu langsung buka aja gerbangnya segala macam. It's already proven the technology is there, except kita kalah bidding di jasa marga gitu aja. Itu aja kalah proyek aja. Tapi sebenarnya our technology is there. The other thing is we propose this to perusahaan parkir ya kan yang ini tuh kan sebetulnya bisnis kita tuh kan AI-nya ya. Sebetulnya yang ini saya harus bekerja sama dengan perusahaan parkir kan. Nah perusahaan parkir they think they can do this easily. They're not. Kita researchnya lama. Dia pikir wah kami bisa juga melakukan sendiri. Ya good luck with you gitu ya. Karena apa? Dia harus ngumpulin data puluhan ribu foto. Punya nggak gambar plat nomor puluhan ribu? Nggak punya kan? Mau datasetnya dari mana? Ini kan ada minus kan tadi. Dataset plat nomor mobil Indonesia punya nggak? Dikotak-kotakin dan dilabel. Saya tuh 3 bulan motretin, ngelabelnya tuh saya nggak tahu ngabisin 75 juta untuk datasetnya. Jadi datasetnya kayak minus itu saya ngabisin 75 juta rupiah untuk buat datasetnya. I'm not going to share this obviously ya, kecuali ada orang mau bayar 75 juta baru saya share oke, datasetnya gitu kan ya. Nah jadi itulah yang saya yang digunakan untuk ini sekarang gitu deh. Dan kita juga udah bisnis prosesnya juga udah buat sebetulnya sangat ini sekali, sangat transparan sekali. Jadi nanti kita bisa bekali itu dengan apa ya, kita bisa punya langganan langsung ke penyedia jasa marga atau apa, nomor plat nomor ini diasosiasikan dengan nomor rekening atau nomor handphone apa, dedak aja dari itu, kita top up dari situ, supir bisa langsung mau jalan tol segala macam nggak usah dibekalin kartu lagi, lewat aja tek dan tercatat sama kita. Jadi inilah yang terjadi ya.
Question Pak,
Yes.
how we set the number of data set Pak? Is it by experience? Is it by formula, best practice, or any story for that Pak?
Okay, now data set. If is it the more you have data set, the better? Nah, tergantung. Pertama gini, the data set. If it's too little, the accuracy is slow. Obviously ya, kalau too little. And how little, how big? Usually rule of thumb from our experience is 5,000.
5,000
data. Jadi untuk setiap image, setiap kelas is 5,000. So if you have 0, 5,000, 0, 1, 5,000. So if you multiply with 10, so 50,000 for that minutes, right? So 60,000 is good, right? Datanya tadi minutes there are 60,000, right? But we need 50,000 actually, because for itu ya, that's good. No, in reality, 5,000 is the rule of thumb. In reality, we've gone through this, and for some reason, 3,000 is good enough for license plate. Jadi 3.000 udah cukup sebenarnya, nggak harus 5.000 ya. Jadi in reality gitu. Tapi rule of thumb biasanya kita selalu bilang 5.000, 5.000 itu bagusnya bagus. Now, if we have too much data, if our neural network is more complicated dan kelasnya hanya sedikit, what the neural network or it's not generalizing but memorizing. That's not a good idea. Now that's why if we have more layers, so each neuron can represent our face. That is not good because it's not generalizing our face. But this neuron is Budi, this neuron is Fadil, this neuron is Claire, this neuron in it. That is what we call overfitting. That's not good. If we have too much network, if we are training too much, they're not actually generalizing this person is Budi, but they are memorizing this node is reserved for that person Budi. Not good, right? Okay. Jadi that's not what we do. So in learning, there is also an art to make sure that okay, the accuracy is good, loss function is correct, and then we don't overfitting. We usually when the accuracy is good, but the loss function is great, it means overfitting. You are memorizing, you're not generalizing. Okay, so memorizing, if we have say 20 students here, say 50 students, each nora represent, okay, this is male, female, male, female, but not generalizing, but memorizing. This phase is that. This phase not good. Gitu ya Pak ya.
Understood. Okay Pak, thank you Pak.
Now, if you want to say do this again, right? You can since you already have it in your things, you can also add this. Remember, when you have this, you can start again from the beginning. But say instead of this layers 5, right? You can create. Let me just copy this one. You can copy this and then create more layers, right? You can do this, right? To add more layers, right? Now with Keras, it's easy. We can just do this and then we have more layers. That's it. and if you run this, it's going to take longer to do that. So, if you do this, you run it again, right? Sometimes you have to reset it. You run it again, and then you run this, and then you do the fitting again. So this one is going to take a while, right? Remember last time it's only 7 seconds for one epoch. This one is taking a bit a while. Okay, still easy. So 12 seconds, longer, but not that longer. Almost twice. Okay, and we don't need this because it's already good. Okay, ini masih jalan tuh, lihat. And the accuracy, now later on we'll see. The accuracy, is it as good as that one? Not necessarily. Ya, nanti kita lihat apakah akurasi yang lebih bagus dengan menambahkan more layers is more accurate. We'll see. And our design is very simple. Just make it dense. Okay. We can also fine tuning this if you want. Okay, don't do dance, don't do this. Probably different architecture in the middle and things like that. This is just a straightforward layer per layer. Still training. Itu ya. Jadi kita bisa eksperimen. Nah, enaknya dengan Keras adalah pakai gini. Jadi kita buat layer-layer eksperimen tinggal gini-gini aja, selesai. Ya. Tentu saja we can also create a different one, not a sequential. We can also create a different numbers instead of 128. Well, let's see if we have 256, 256, 256, and then using different kind of categorization. See, remember, look at this. It's 98%, not 99. Just like what we have earlier, right? It doesn't mean that more layer is much better. No. Ya. Ada pertanyaan?
Sorry Pak, maybe ini ya repetition ya Pak. Layer itu maksudnya what it means Pak?
Layer itu di dalamnya itu adalah tadi. Oh ya. Oke, here is ini aja. Remember when we have this, where is my share? Ini layers di dalamnya ini. Di dalamnya ini kan ada layers ya. Kebayang ya?
Why too much layer is not good, Pak? You say
Because it is going to compute longer time.
Bukannya semakin banyak like library-nya huge library means
because
error.
Errornya akan lebih minimal. It should be better, right? It should be better, but we're not sure. It should be better, right? Ini yang di layarnya ada yang layar 1 atau layar 2? Layarnya ada yang 1 ya, layarnya kelihatannya. Sorry, yang kelihatan layarnya yang 1 atau yang 2?
Kelihatan kok Pak.
Yang layarnya yang 2, yang di sini. Yang 1 atau yang 2?
Slide PPT Pak.
Slide PPT page 18 Pak.
Oke. Tapi layarnya 1 ya, yang bukan layarnya ada 2 slide bukan?
2 Pak.
2.
Belum di slideshow Pak.
Oh belum, udah harusnya ya. Stop share. Oke, saya share lagi. Oke, share lagi. Ini.
Nah, ini
ada ya?
Ya.
Oke. Now,
Let's
let me do this again. Okay, kalau saya punya layer, ini kan ada layer input tadi ya. The first layer 285 84 nodes, right? And then the second layer 128, right? And then you have connection, this connection, right? And then second layer again 128, right? Connection, and so on. 5 layers, for example, 3, 4, 5, and then finally there are layers that are 10, right? Gitu kan ya? So when we do say a training, we say number 7 is this number 7. We have to compute the weights of this, right? Remember, we have to compute the weights of this, right? It's weights. This. The more layers, the more weights that we have to compute, right? So it's going to take a while. Kalau ini 5 layer tadi mungkin for 5 layers it's 7 seconds, for example. If we have 75 layers, for example, 1 epoch, it's going to take 1 hour. So if we have 10 epoch, it's going to take 10 hours to finish our training. Jadi more layers is going to take more training time, and it's not worth it. Right? For this particular case, we can see that mana tadi digit recognition ya. Dengan sorry, saya stop dulu ininya. Where is my let's share. Mana tadi? Share. Kok nggak ada ya? Oh, ini nggak di layarnya. Oke, sorry. Mana?
Tapi apakah ada yang memang if there is need Pak, itu ada kebutuhan untuk more layers required?
Ada. Just like for example in my face detection and recognition layernya ada 75. Makanya trainingnya 20 hari.
Kemarin face recognition yang Ade Armando itu salah ya Pak ya?
Ya, itu nanti kita bahas lagi nanti. Ini sebetulnya tuh salahnya tuh karena dia nggak punya fotonya kita gitu ya. Jadi fotonya si AKR ini nggak ada. Jadi dia akan selalu salah. Karena kalau dia mau itu dia harus punya foto seluruh orang Indonesia. Ya. Karena dia mapping sih sebetulnya. Nah, itu kalau salah make jadi akibat.
Kan ada Pak, kalau fotonya seluruh Indonesia yang ber-KTP at least you have a license. Kan there is ini.
Ya, tapi fotonya itu di training nggak di neural network-nya?
Oh, iya.
Kalau misalnya kita ya, assuming ini di kelas kita kan kita training untuk absensi kelas kita kan ya. So anybody with a picture akan dipetakan ke one of us. Kalau foto kemarin ya, foto yang kemarin yang mukulin Ade Armando kita masukkan kelas kita, ya dia akan milih salah satu di antara kita. Dia akan milih mana dia, ya salah satu di antara kita aja gitu kan, yang ada datanya cuma ini kan ya.
Yang paling mirip menurut dia gitu kan ya.
Yang paling mirip menurut dataset yang di training ini.
Exactly.
Iya, kalau dia punya datasetnya sudah di training seluruh Indonesia, ya bisa. Tapi kalau gitu, kalau nggak ada ya nggak bisa.
Ya.
Jadi tergantung training datasetnya. Kayak kelas kita, training datasetnya kelas kita. Jadi kalau kita lihat classifier di kelas kita, ya kalau kita misalnya dataset kita 40 orang, ya 1 dari 40 orang itu. Gitu ya.
Iya, ya, tapi berani ya Pak ya diumumkan secara nasional, even with maybe limited dataset.
Iya, ya jadi dia wah ini nekat aja. Menurut saya nggak ada yang punya dataset seluruh orang Indonesia yet gitu ya. Ini data kelas aja ini susah banget setengah mati. Nah, teknologi wise kalau kita lihat itu sebetulnya kalau teknologi kami itu baru sampai puluhan ribu lah. Jadi kalau untuk satu kampus bisa. Kalau untuk satu kota, misalnya penduduk kota Bandung, katakanlah berapa? 5 juta, teknologi kami belum bisa. On the other hand, this technology in China, they claim can be used to recognize one city. So, if you are in China and if you are jaywalking, you cross the street when it's green, you jaywalking, then it will be recognized. Why? Because the government already has your picture. And the government already trained the neural network with that picture, with your picture. Now, how they do it for the large number of data set, we still don't know. Because according to our research, It is good for, I don't know, maybe 75,000, 100,000 persons, right? If it's more than that, technology-wise, not straightforward. Maybe we can have a class of Kota Bandung, right? So we're not going to recognize somebody from Jogja coming to Bandung, and it will recognize as one of Kota Bandung, right? Because we don't have a person from Jogja, for example. Gitu ya. Jadi again, AI has a limitation of what is being trained off. Jadi kalau ini tergantung dataset, it depends on the dataset that we are using to we used to train them. Gitu. So if I want to train one of us, remember we have to have a lot of dataset. Begitu. So that's that. Okay, more question before we end the class tonight. So basically, I recap. The class tonight we learned how to program AI. Okay, so now you can claim I have programmed an AI machine. What we are doing, we create a model, right? A model that what create. Now what we learn tonight is we program or we create a model to recognize handwritten digit. The data set are from minutes, and we used a library from TensorFlow and Keras. We use these two libraries to do it. There are ways of doing it. And what we did is we create a system and learn how to use it, and then we check it with other data. We can use the same technique to recognize the difference between cats and dogs. We can do that, but I'm not going to do this. But you get the idea. We can also use it to recognize different kind of flowers. Now, later on, maybe next week we'll talk more about the general term of this, recognizing object, and or maybe we move to another topic. But for the last two class, we understand AI, data, and things like that. To understand data from the point of view of AI, machine learning, and deep learning. So the next time you have a project on machine learning, deep learning, you know how it is, you know the difficult parts, and you know it's not as simple as it is. You know how the strength and then the limitation. Okay, so AI is good, but for narrow things, and there are still problems with it, and it is not easy to learn. What we are doing is just simple, so that's why it's easy. But if we want to recognize other things, it's still difficult. Right now, we are working on detecting defects on industrial, for example, textile and manufacturing. Also, that one is still difficult. The training part is difficult because we have to produce data set first, and that data set is the obstacle for us. It usually takes months, or almost one of them is actually almost 1 year. In terms of data set. That's why I am right now building an SMK AI vocational school, and we are starting this year. Hopefully, we're going to teach these kids how to create good data set. Gitu ya. So that's that. If there's no question, kalau sambil siapkan, if you have question, prepare their questions. But let me take a picture of the class group picture. Silahkan dinyalakan sambil kita sudahi kelas hari ini. Silahkan kalau yang mau menghidupkan layarnya.